Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, Philippines, they're hard workers, man.
They're amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, some of them speak good English too.
Yeah. Well, and I think like when people think hiring overseas, they kind of write it off as like, all right, we're gonna have to have a low level task or something for this person, but the talent over there is it's incredible.
Wow, agreed. Yeah, because some people cheap out and they hire like $3 an hour or whatever.
Yeah.
But there's probably some better quality people. Wherever you guys are watching this show, I would truly appreciate it if you follow or subscribe. It helps a lot with the algorithm. It helps us get bigger and better guests, and it helps us grow the team. Truly means a lot. Thank you guys for supporting, and here's the episode. All right, guys, here with Giana Cambria all the way from Orlando. Thanks for flying in today.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. You got a crazy journey, moving 24 times growing up.
Yeah, last time I counted 24 times in 27 or 28 years, something like that.
It's pretty much once a year.
Once a year, yeah. Growing up, there were maybe 2 places that we stayed for 2 years. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's always in and out.
So psychologically, do you think that kind of played a role on you?
You know, I get that question a lot, and I think it was one of those things that I just maybe compartmentalized. Like, I don't really think about it. I loved it. It was great growing up. I got to see a ton of stuff that most people don't get to see.
Right.
So I'm sure somewhere it's had its effects, but
you blocked it out. Yeah, I can relate it to that.
Yeah.
Any favorite cities out of those 24?
Yeah, I was very fortunate. Hawaii and Puerto Rico were probably top 2. Yeah.
Damn, that's pretty dope. I haven't been to either.
Not necessarily cities, but
yeah, I haven't been to either, but heard great things, especially Puerto Rico with the tax savings.
Yeah. I mean, I was in middle school, so not a big deal then, but it was beautiful.
Yeah. And were your parents in entrepreneurship as well?
No, my parents were military, so that's why we moved around so much. Yeah, both of them Army growing up.
And did they want you to pursue that?
To pursue the military?
Yeah.
They actually talked me out of it.
Really?
Yeah. So growing up, it's like, and anybody coming from an Army family gets this, but we always made fun of the Air Force growing up. It was like, we called it the chair force.
Yeah.
And the running joke was like anywhere Air Force bases, they would build the golf course first and then build the base around it.
Wow.
And so when I decided I wanted to go in the military, I wanted to do like intelligence or something like that. And they were like, you do realize that you're going to be, you don't even know where you're going to be in the middle of a desert. It's not what you think it is. If you do anything, go Air Force. They were like, don't go Army, go Air Force. It'll set you up better when you're done. And I just never pursued it. So.
That makes sense. Bobby and I, my friend in the military, we were just in the sauna before this, and someone in there was in the Air Force.
Yeah.
And everyone made fun of him. So now this is starting to make sense to me now.
Yep.
I wonder why the Air Force gets picked on.
It's just different. Like they're in the Army, you call it an MOS, right? Like your specialty, what you're doing, your jobs. It's just different. They do different stuff.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Wow. So did you go to college for business?
I went to college for economics.
Economics?
Yeah.
Wow.
The first year I was actually a theater major, and then I switched over to economics.
That's a big change.
Yeah.
Theater didn't work out, I guess.
Yeah, I think I think that's ultimately what led me to entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Like coming from an acting background, I knew that it was going to be a long road. And everyone in acting at that time, at least, I'm sure it's different now, but everybody was, waiting tables, whatever they could to financially get through that. And I just never wanted to do that. I never wanted to be on somebody else's time. That was a big thing for me. I never wanted to have to move things around if an audition or something came up.
Right.
And I never wanted to have to worry about money. So that journey kind of led me through okay, what can I start doing where I can own my time and own my money? And that's, I think, ultimately how I got into entrepreneurship.
I love that. Yeah, acting just seems like a lot of stuff isn't in your control. It seems like a lot about connections and being at the right place. It seems like even if you're skilled enough, it's hard to make it in acting.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that was one of the things that I started to kind of pick up on is I was always like runner up or overlooked, and I was quiet. So a lot of times that just didn't work out in my favor. So
you were super shy growing up?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah,
same
definitely
with me.
Introverted, quiet. Yeah.
Huge introvert. Took me probably years to break out of that.
Yeah.
I'm still an introvert, but being a host is definitely different.
Yeah.
Being interviewed and talking to people for a living now, it's kind of ironic, right?
Right.
So how'd you get involved with Orangetheory?
Yeah, so Orangetheory was right out of college, and I hate working out. Absolutely hate it. But I played sports growing up. Knew I needed to do it, and Orangetheory was the only thing where I could show up, not have to worry about anything. You knew you were going to get a good workout in, and then you leave, right? And it was perfect. It was the only thing that kept me going to the gym.
Yeah.
And out of college, I couldn't afford a membership, so I was like, all right, let me look into to working the front desk. What is the minimal amount of time I can be here to get a free membership?
Smart.
So
I like the way you think.
that's how it started. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people just think arbitrarily, but you're more creative, thinking outside the box, right?
Yeah.
Some people want to go to music festivals, they can't afford it, but you could actually work at the music festival, get the $500 ticket for free.
Yeah.
So from there, you worked your way up, right?
Yeah. So I started working the front desk, I think maybe really like 2 days a week. And at the time I think I was doing network marketing.
Okay.
Like trying to make that work. I had made the switch from acting into, okay, I'm going to go all in on business. And I was doing network marketing, and so I would go to Orangetheory in the mornings, and every day was like, blocked out. And if I wasn't at Orangetheory, I was prospecting at the mall, right? Like, network marketing where you go hand out your product and try to make that work. So after probably about 8 months of working the front desk at Orangetheory, I started getting into coaching. So I got certified as a personal trainer, started making my way to coaching. Same thing there. As soon as I said like, hey, what do I have to do? I've been working for them for 8 months. What do I have to do to become a coach? And everyone was kind of like, you're so quiet. You're going to be a coach.
Yeah.
And so just going down that journey, and it kind of snowballed from there.
Wow. And you hated coaching.
I hated working out.
Yeah. Sorry.
Exactly.
And you became a coach.
Yeah.
That is funny, man. Yeah. So was it mainly for the money, or was it just like challenging yourself?
I mean, the money was great. I don't actually think that was ever a driver. I think it was just like, honestly, probably falling in love with the workout itself. Okay. Like, even though I hated doing it, it was the one thing that kept me consistent. And I, just seeing that, and then seeing all the members and the transformation they had. Plus it was way more fun on the coaching side, right? Like they just put the mic on, coached their 3 classes, and they were out versus like at the front desk, you had sales and numbers and things like that to hit. So yeah.
Interesting. So what goes down at Orangetheory? Is it like all cardio? I've never seen a workout there. Yeah,
so it's different every day, but usually like half the class is cardio, so they may do treadmills, and it's going to be different between like, some days you're doing sprints, other days you're doing like a 23-minute run for endurance, right? So it's like, just depends. And then the other half is usually more strength-based, so weight floor and water rowers kind of thing.
Got it. So the best of both, cardio and
exactly.
That's what I need, man, because I only do cardio right now.
Yeah.
I got to start lifting.
Yeah.
It's bulk season.
There you go.
And is that where you learn about the team building stuff, learning how to build a team and all that?
Yeah, so kind of similar, like every promotion I had at Orangetheory, I said no at least once every time it was offered to me. And it wasn't even like a conscious thing. I just think, at that point, my priority was how am I going to get, grow my business? And management always just seemed like this trap, right? It was like, okay, you're going to get in this situation, you're going to have a good salary, and you're never going to want to leave. Right. And there go all your dreams of having your own business, right? You're on somebody else's timeline, you're on somebody else's, salary cap, all the things that I didn't want for myself. And so every time I would get promoted or offered a promotion, I said no. And ultimately, I got moved to a regional. So I had a great boss. I think everybody has like that one person that can see through the quietness or see through the shyness and see the potential that I had no idea was there. So I had no idea that I had the capability of, leadership or managing a team. Never done anything like that before. And so he was like, hey, we want to take these 2 roles. They were essentially 2 general management roles. So it was like sales and ops side, and then I was running the fitness side. They wanted to combine the 2. And I was like, that sounds like a great way to save on payroll. I'm going to pass. And plus the sales and ops side was, chicken with no head, always running around working 80-hour weeks, seemed stressed out of their mind.
Damn.
Wanted nothing to do with that. So luckily he was super relentless, said no 3 times, offered me almost double my salary at the time, still said no. And finally he showed up. He made a 4-hour drive from HQ, showed up at the studio, and just said, hey, follow me around for a little bit. I get why you don't want to do this. You see the sales and ops side as this crazy thing and always stressed out. That's not what it's supposed to be. So on day 2, we're walking into one of the studios, and he looks at me and goes, if you do this right, you should get yourself out of the weeds and build the team. And that was kind of like, honestly, a catalyst for me, and I ended up taking the job, but a catalyst for me in going all in on that philosophy, not just at Orangetheory, but also in my business. And that was really, I'd say, like the pivot point where things just started to click.
Wow. Yeah. And that's a scary step for most people, especially introverts, right? Yeah. Building their own team, being responsible for other people. So that must have been kind of a scary transition for you. Yeah.
And especially since everybody that I was, quote unquote, going to be leading or overseeing had years of experience on me, right?
So and I was like jealousy.
Brand new.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't even say there was, I'm sure, but like, I had a really great group of people around me. And I just knew that for me to do this well, I can't have all the answers. A, there's no way that I can catch up to the expertise that they have from the experience that they have. I'm brand new to this. Right. But B, like for us to really come together as a team and do something great, I'm going to have to put the right people in the right spots and let them do their thing. And that's that's what worked for us.
That's cool. And is this when you started getting into organic content, posting a lot on social media?
Yeah. And it's funny, it's actually through Orangetheory with this as well, right? So up until that point.
Are you interested in coming on the Digital Social Hour podcast as a guest? Well, click the application link below in the description of this video. We are always looking for cool stories, cool entrepreneurs to talk to about business and life. Click the application link below, and here's the episode, guys.
Griff, the boss that I was reporting to at the time that, gave me that position, he was probably the only one that saw it. Everybody else, too quiet, too this, too that, right? And I was always overlooked for a lot of those things. So I got invited to be on a panel through Griff at Orangetheory, and I found myself on stage in front of probably 2,500 people, all of the owners, the operators from all of the Orangetheories across the globe.
And that was your first talk ever?
Yeah, pretty much, right? And I've been in management for maybe like 8 months.
Yeah, I would have been freaking out.
But here's the thing. It's me and 3 other people on the stage for this panel. One of them is the founder of Orangetheory. The other one is an ex-NFL player that owns probably one of the most profitable divisions in Orangetheory. And the other one was like the original fitness instructor.
Dang.
And here I am, like, knowing absolutely nothing. But the crazy thing is, after that panel, I got off stage and I went from like nobody having any idea who I was to people coming up to me and seeking out my advice.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, okay, so just by having a little bit of visibility, getting my way in the door there, all of this happened. And it was, kind of simultaneous with my business too, like constantly, chasing leads and trying to we were doing like everything that everybody does when they try to grow a business, right? Cold email and LinkedIn automation, all this stuff just wasn't working. Yeah. Right? Because we would get on the few calls that we would book, right? You spend 20 minutes trying to explain who you are and why you're worth it, right? Yeah. And it was like, if I could apply what just happened on this Orangetheory panel to what I'm doing in business and do it in a way that doesn't take, a lot of my time, there's something to it. Right. So yeah, that's kind of when it all started.
Yeah, and making good content is an art, right? It's not just about selling or pitching. That's what people don't realize. They just post their products and people expect them to like it or whatever. But your content was different, right? It was more viral.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's about value, and you can do that in so many different ways. But a lot of times I think when people get started with content, they do get so hung up in, well, how am I going to sell or how am I going to monetize this? And it's like, if you just focus on giving value and focus on what your audience actually, has questions around or wants to learn or what their pain points are. Yeah. That's all you have to do.
Absolutely. Yeah. So what were those first few viral videos about mainly?
Yeah. I mean, the first videos were terrible, and I probably couldn't even tell you what they were about, some sort of business growth or something. But the crazy thing is, I sucked at creating video at first, but I kept going. And I posted one, and I couldn't even tell you what it was. And I went from like struggling to sell. At the time, we were doing a subscription model, and it was like maybe $400 a month. Struggling to get $400 from people. And in one video, I got a $3,000 pay in full for consulting. Wow. But that's the power of video content, right? It's visibility. Yeah. And so when you do it right and you can give value, like people automatically, it's the same thing as being on stage, right? People automatically just see you and go, okay, there's an authority there. There's a credibility. Oh, for sure.
Yeah, the previous guest, Christopher, speaks on the biggest stages, and people offer him absurd amounts of money for coaching and consulting. It's pretty crazy.
Exactly.
I mean, you could really make a living just off coaching these days.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, look at Andy Elliott, Hormozy. I mean, these guys are getting God knows how much per hour, but it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. And that's the thing, and it doesn't take, like, I know you said viral, but it doesn't take millions of views to get that effect. Wow. Like, my first few videos, 30 views, and one of the ones that we got that $3,000 pay in full was
one of those 30.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's really not about the views or the engagement of the followers half the time when you have like, an expertise or a coaching or some sort of service that you're selling.
So it's about the quality. Yeah. So are you mainly focused on coaching these days?
We kind of have a hybrid. It's more like coaching / agency with how we do it. So it's all of your content done in 4 hours or less per month is what we do. So we do the strategy, the systems, and then the recruiting and the placement of what we call content specialists to take care of everything. So.
And how much content are you advising people to post per day, per month?
The main thing is consistency. Right. Like what we're seeing, especially Instagram in particular, they're kind of looking at it almost like a TV series. So if you can come on and be super consistent, even if it's once or twice a week, but you're posting on the same days and same times and you're doing it over time, the algorithm goes, okay, they're worth it. Like they're going to be consistent with this content. We can trust them. Yeah. So it's really just like, what can you stick with in the beginning and be consistent with and then build from there?
Yeah, I actually think Instagram's coming back because TikTok kind of had them for a bit, but now I feel like I like Reels more than TikToks. Yeah. Personally.
Yeah, and I think like they're all, every platform has its rise and has its fall, or quote unquote fall. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's attention.
Yep.
Right? How can you get in front of people in any way you can by producing good content that's giving them value?
Yeah. And IG just announced monetization, right? I think I just got mine. It's actually not paying that much. I don't know how it works. Do you know how it works? Is it?
We don't focus a lot on the monetization because exactly what you just said, right? Like you're so much better off selling your own products on the other side of it from your audience. Right. And because if Instagram or TikTok or whoever goes down, or they decide to shut you down because they don't like something you said, you lose everything overnight.
Yeah. Dealing with that on YouTube right now. I just got my first strike.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
Yep.
Got to censor certain words from now on.
Yeah, exactly. They're super sensitive.
Yeah, we're at their mercy. Is there any platform you focus on, or do you kind of spread them all out evenly?
Yeah, I think, again, because we work more with like the coaches and the info space. And so the whole thing there is building a machine of trust, right? Because trust is what's going to accelerate that sale for them. And we're in a world now where person-to-person trust is lower than it's ever been. Right. And so one of the fastest ways to put that at scale, whether you're running paid ads, whether you're, whatever you're doing to get clients, organic content fuels all of that because it accelerates the speed of trust, which is going to shorten your sales cycle. So for us, there's not necessarily a specific platform we focus on, but it's a combination of the strategy. So it's not all in on short form. It's not all in on long form. It's a little bit of both, right? And kind of thinking of short form as like getting the attention at the top of the funnel and then pushing people back to long form content. Because the whole goal is to get them as much exposure with you as possible to, accelerate towards that sale.
Yeah, it's all about building trust. That's why I think podcasts are so good, because it's like just a conversation.
Absolutely.
No one's putting on a show. Like, you're just talking.
Yeah, and you have 30 to 45 minutes in their ear, with usually not a lot of distractions. Whereas if you're scrolling through Instagram, right, you're quick, you're going through short form, and the minute that something doesn't hold your attention, you're off to the next.
Nonstop. Yeah. I mean, it's unhealthy how quick I scroll if I'm not interested. It's probably under a second these days.
Exactly.
The human attention span is now shorter than a goldfish. Did you see that?
Yeah. I mean,
that is nuts. 3 seconds?
Yeah, it used to be like 7 or 8 seconds?
7 or 8 when we were in school. Which is still bad. But imagine being a teacher now with these kids growing up with iPads. I mean, it's got to be stressful, right?
Yeah. And then I can only imagine like the long-term effects on the brain, of staring at the screens, and for us too, right?
Yeah. I didn't have a phone till I was in high school.
Same.
Yeah. And that was late for me, honestly. But I'm glad looking back that I didn't.
Yeah.
Because I got to go outside and play.
I know. I'm glad that I did not grow up with social media the way that these kids have it.
Oh, man. These kids be getting cyberbullied. They be getting weird photos. I mean, there's a lot you got to dodge.
Yeah, I mean, the mistakes you make when you're a kid and now they're out there forever.
Publicized. Yeah. People get canceled over their tweets from 10 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's scary.
Yeah.
I mean, times change. Words we said 10 years ago were normal.
Yeah. Yeah, and especially at that age, right? Like you're learning, you're growing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You have kids yet?
I don't.
Nice. I don't know if I want them. We'll see.
Yeah.
Was that a choice for you too, or?
I think for me, it's more about like a freedom thing.
Right.
I just like to be able to pick up and go and travel and, that sort of thing. And I think I've just been so focused on career and growth, that it just, I wouldn't say it was a conscious choice. It just was a byproduct.
I feel that. Yeah, traveling's important though. I mean, you really learn a lot traveling. Any places you went that really stood out to you?
Yeah, good question. It's on the list. There's a lot of places I want to go, to really just kind of experience like different cultures and different way of life and different speed of life, I think is really it.
Yeah.
I've been traveling a lot within the U.S. lately though.
Okay.
And hidden gem, Greenville, South Carolina.
Never would have expected that answer. Okay,
yeah,
let me hear why.
Random. But it's just like, I don't know. As soon as I was there, it felt comfortable, felt like home. But we met like randomly a bunch of entrepreneurs. I don't know that it's necessarily an entrepreneur hub. Like I don't know that everyone is going there to build their business. Yeah. But there's just something about the people there. It's super community driven and really also like forward thinking.
Wow.
Like some really cool spots, really cool restaurants, really cool gyms.
Okay.
That,
I'll add it to the list. Yeah. I like weirder towns. I just got invited to a wedding in Montana.
Oh, nice.
And I'm actually super pumped about it.
Yeah.
Because I like small communities. My dad grew up in like a small town in Pennsylvania called Quakertown.
Okay.
And I just like that aspect.
Yeah.
Because when you're in a city, man, it feels kind of fake sometimes. I don't know how to describe it. You know what I mean? There's no like local community aspect.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's like the hardest thing, and talking about social media, making it that way too, we're more disconnected than we've ever been.
Yeah.
So when you can find somewhere where it's exactly that, just like authentic people and not, there's no agenda, I think that's probably the places that I love the most. That's what I'm picking up on in some form or another.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When it comes to hiring, any specific regions, countries that you kind of gravitate towards?
Yeah. So we have like probably majority of our team in the Philippines, but we've started kind of expanding that a lot now. So we've got South America, and a little bit in like Eastern Europe as well.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, Philippines, they're hard workers, man.
They're amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, some of them speak good English too.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I think like when people think hiring overseas, they kind of write it off as like, all right, we're gonna have to have a low level task or something for this person, but the talent over there is it's incredible.
Wow.
And you just have to know how to vet that, right? So like testing, and that's always a big concern. Well, what's communication going to be like? And you just have to know exactly what you're looking for and find ways to vet that out in the hiring process.
Agreed, yeah, because some people cheap out and they hire like $3 an hour or whatever,
Yeah.
but there's probably some better quality people.
Yeah, and there's a drastic difference between hiring, $3 to $5 an hour versus $10 to $15 an hour over there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, $3 an hour over there is still, it's they're doing very well.
I heard that's livable over
Yeah.
there, actually.
It's very livable.
Yeah, which is
I think
crazy.
their median or minimum wage is like less than $1. Yeah, so.
It's nuts. I remember I went to Jamaica when I was like 19 or 20 and I was a millionaire there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's the same for us. If we went over there with our US dollar, it'd be the same thing. It's just purchasing power and geographic arbitrage, right? That's all it is.
It's pretty crazy because you can really travel almost anywhere and just be balling.
Yeah.
Other than Europe and I don't know about Asia, but yeah, certain countries in it. Bali, super cheap, I heard.
Yeah, I've heard that's amazing.
Yeah. All right. Peak performance and productivity hacks. What kind of biohacking are you doing?
Yeah, I'm getting more. This is the year of like really systemizing kind of the personal life. So I just hired a chef, which is probably the best investment I've ever made.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, just being able to walk in knowing that like clean food is there so I can structure whatever I need to with dietary needs.
Nice.
And I know exactly what's in the fridge. So those are the two biggest things for me. And then I'm big on time efficiency, right? So like one thing for me is a feedback loop. So I try to get as much data as I can and then translate that into, what I'm doing on the day to day. So the biggest like game changer for me was this Whoop. So it measures everything.
Yeah, I've heard of those.
Yeah, from like heart rate variability to sleep. And I think when I first got it, like I didn't realize that I was, I'd be in bed for like 8 or 9 hours, but I was not getting that amount of sleep.
Wow.
And the biggest thing was REM sleep. I was getting like 20 or 30 minutes a night of REM sleep. Yeah.
You're supposed to get like an hour or two?
At least.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what was causing that?
I still haven't really like pinpointed exactly what it is, but the best I've got is routine.
Okay.
And for me, one of the biggest impactors, especially like, growing a business or working from home, it's so easy to work, be on a laptop, be on a screen till like 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And even though if I'm wearing blue light blocking glasses or whatever, like it still has such an impact on my sleep because if I don't shut my brain off by a certain time, I think that's really the underlying cause of
Interesting.
Of bad sleep.
I might have to get one of those. Okay, so the founder's coming on the show. That's why I've heard of them.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're a big company, right?
Yeah. So I was a pretty early adopter. I think I've had this for like 4 years now.
Damn. All right, I really got to get that. And you've inspired me to get a chef now.
Yeah.
Learning a lot today.
Yeah.
So how do you structure the chef? They cook in your house every day?
So she actually shows up once a week. She comes on Monday.
Okay.
She sends a menu. And then right now, like, because we just kind of are figuring out the system to this, but eventually my executive assistant will take the grocery list and Instacart everything that we need. And, there'll be like specifications for what those groceries can be.
Right.
But she'll send the menu, we approve, and then she just shows up, makes all the food, cleans the kitchen, puts everything in there, and then comes back next Monday.
So you don't even know she's there.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Life is good.
Yeah.
And how did you find this chef?
Google.
Good old Google.
Yeah, Google.
Wow.
We try to go the route of like having my executive assistant do that, but I think there's such a difference in specialization and having somebody that understands like cooking and preparing food.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been
I love
great.
that. I'm definitely going to look into that. What are the best things you've outsourced other than that?
Yeah. Man, that's a good question. I think, that's probably the biggest one. Planning vacations and research. Yeah, that's a big one too, where I can just like, I recently got here's a good one. Recently got an Airbnb as like Airbnb, what do you call it? Arbitrage, I guess, where you're the renter, right? But then you put it up on Airbnb. So that process has been really like tough figuring that out while you're remote. So it's in Arizona. I live in Florida.
Okay.
Right. So being able to outsource that stuff and just have somebody that can own that process and say, okay, we need XYZ, go look through these, find the best cleaners in Arizona and schedule them out for this day. And this is what needs to be done. That part of it has been good as well.
Yeah, that sounds tedious, right? Plus like the customer service part of Airbnb, you don't want to deal with that.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think having an EA, I know you said you have one, that was probably the best hire I've made.
Yeah, absolutely.
Saved me hours.
Yeah, exactly. We have a ticket submission. So I can literally just from my phone or computer or whatever I need, I just put it in there, and it's like my own maintenance portal for everything, right? Hey, XYZ needs to happen this week, and she'll go do the research or whatever, and then say, okay, we need your approval on this, pick one, and it's done.
That's sick.
Yeah.
So I know you're all about organic. Do you run any paid ads?
We do.
Oh, you do?
We actually, our thing is really how organic plays with paid ads. So we do a lot with paid ads, but I think the first thing that really started working for us was cold email and LinkedIn. But the only reason it started working was because of the organic content.
Yeah.
Right? And it's the same thing with paid ads. Because I think we're getting to this point, and Google just did it's been around for a few years, but they came out with this study of the customer journey. And it's called like the 7-4-11 or something like that, right? But they're essentially finding that before, they call it like the zero trust point, before a customer makes a decision to buy, they go through their own research process where they're essentially spending about 7 hours researching you and your company and your product and your service.
Damn.
4 different locations. So whether that's like social media or different platforms or, different mediums, right?
Right.
And 11 touch points.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah. So if you're running paid ads, now your cost goes up so much higher to get those additional touch points. And there's just something about a paid ad now that everybody's a little more savvy about it and we're used to it and we're used to being sold to, that it doesn't stand out as much, and you kind of instantly know, like, oh, this is a paid ad, and sales resistance goes up.
Yeah, it's very tough to sell me on a paid ad, I will say.
Yeah.
TikTok Shop got me a couple times because they sell some interesting products.
Yeah.
But yeah, the courses and stuff, it's also high ticket too, so it's a tougher sell.
Yeah. And it's even more important for a high ticket to have that blend of organic and paid, because of that trust factor. Like the days where you could just put up a VSL and or a webinar, right, and run people right to it, and that was the first exposure they got, and then they would hand you $5,000.
Yeah.
I think we're really seeing that decline, and the biggest brands you have right now, like look at like Eamon Godsey, right, or even Russell Brunson has announced that his strategy is changing. That guy spends $2 million a month on paid ads.
Damn.
And he has publicly said we're going all in on organic content. They're seeing where this trend is headed. And I just think you're going to have a way to build trust at scale to get around this.
Yeah, it's all about building trust now. Yeah. I think the fake Lambo days are over, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I used to get ads of 20-year-olds standing in front of Lambos every single day.
Do. Yeah.
You still do, you said?
Still do.
That's funny. Yeah, that worked like 6 years ago, I feel like. Ty Lopez started it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it's changed. Trust is important. Don't sleep on cold email, though.
100%.
I've closed a lot of deals on cold email, and it's so good because I send like a couple hundred a day, and the networking's really good too. Yeah,
absolutely. But with that, if you can, have some sort of link in the cold email, this is what we started doing that started working. We went from like getting, F off and all kinds of crazy messages back, right? And pretty much death threats.
Damn.
To like having people go, this is one of the best cold emails I've seen. And it's not because that's their only exposure. They'll click on a link, but then once they do that, they're getting targeted with all of our social content, right? Or the feed will just pick up on it while they're scrolling, and they're like, "I see you everywhere."
So they're in your pixel.
Right? So if you can get them once, and just even the way social media works, right? If they consume anything from you, even a little bit, they're gonna pop up in your feed again.
That's so smart. I didn't even think about that. So the link is to your site, but you're collecting the exact landing page.
Yeah, so I think initially we had a link to the video sales letter page.
Got it.
So directly to that video, but then once you hit that, it's, retargeting.
You're everywhere. Yeah, there's certain people, I go on their site once and I get their ads for, oh my God, years. Alaric Heck, Jeremy Lee Minor.
Yes,
I mean, get those ads daily.
Yeah.
So funny.
And Jeremy Lee Minor is going all in on content
too.
He's
coming on the show,
Oh, nice.
I feel like podcasts are like, some of them are getting acquired. I don't know if you're seeing this, but like Joe Rogan just got acquired last week for $250 million. There's a show called Smartlist that just got acquired. It seems like that's the next big thing. Yeah.
Well, the philosophy is the same, right? We're seeing that with newsletters too.
Yeah,
right?
newsletters.
It's because the attention that you've garnered and like the loyalty that they have and coming back, you have a spot where, no matter what you put there, you've got attention and you know exactly who's watching, right? Because you have the analytics behind podcasts too.
And the trust, I think.
Yeah.
People trust newsletters and podcasts right now, and we'll see over time probably there'll be some bad actors that tarnish it, but it happens with everything, right?
Yeah, it's a cycle.
Absolutely. Giana, it's been fun. Where can people find you, and do you have anything to promote?
Instagram is going to be the best place, Giana Cambria 91, or you can find me on YouTube as well.
Awesome. We'll link it down below. Thanks for coming on.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for watching, guys, as always. See you next time.